Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Taylor, Taylor. Taylor, where are you? Check, check, check. Check, check. Check, check, check. Hello, 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 hello. I'm back here, John. Check, check, check. Microphone check. Check, 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 check. Hello, hello, hello. Check, check, check. Hello. Check, check, check. Hold on. Check. Can you hear me now? Perfect. Thank you. Okay. I got it. I think I got it. All right. Welcome to Yakima SW Rotary. All right. I have Tony Klein with invocation. Can I do it from here? You can. That's fine.
Okay. Will you bow with me, please? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the blessings that you've bestowed on this club and our members. We thank you for the opportunity to do the things we do. Lord, we ask that you'll remind us what it means to do service above self, especially during this Christmas season. Amen. Amen.
All right. I think we have Tony or Renee. Do you want to come up here, Tony, and use the mic?
Okay, we do have some guests here today. Josh has brought Addie. Would you like to introduce her? Wonderful. Welcome, Addie. Louise has brought Whitney. Would you like to introduce Whitney?
Whitney, go for it.
Hi, I'm Whitney Maxwell. Nice to meet everybody. This is not my first time here, but thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're glad you're back. Thank you for being here. And Britt. Britt has brought Pat. Okay, wonderful. Next time then. Very good. I think that's it.
Thank you. All right. So next we have Tressa. If you can come up, we have an introduction of a new member, Jeanette.
Thanks, Dirk. It is my pleasure to introduce Jeanette Herron as our newest member of the Southwest Rotary Club. Whoa, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I'm on cold medicine. Jeanette is a membership engagement manager at the Yakima Country Club, and prior to that, she worked at Macy's for many years. She's also active in the Catholic Church here at across the street, right? Right. Yep. Holy Family. Jeanette has been married to her wonderful husband, Doug Herron, for 35 years, and any golfers in this room probably knows Doug, as he is a great golfer, and he fixes golf clubs. So, she also has 3 beautiful children and 2 grandchildren. Jeanette enjoys doing interior design and plays golf in her free time. She's hoping to make more time for golf next year so she and her husband, Doug, can play together more. Jeanette loves planning events at the Yakima Country Club, and she's amazing. She just did the President's Ball for my husband on Saturday, and she enjoys being active in the community. It's very important to her that people realize what Yakima has to offer. She feels that there are a lot of great people here and so much potential for this amazing community. She believes it takes a village to work together to help make changes happen, and that is why she wanted to join Rotary, and I think she would be a great fit for our club. So welcome, Jeanette.
Yep, we do. Jeez. Welcome, Jeanette. Geez, my clicker didn't advance. I didn't realize it until I looked down. So, all right, club announcements. So we have the ability, for some of you have been asking for this, so we have the ability to do credit card payments on your member dues. And Christine in the back has these forms. So if you want to just get on auto billing and do it on a debit card, credit card, fill out this form and they'll just automatically deduct it from your account on a quarterly basis. Member anniversaries, we got Wendy Olson with 3 years, Liberty McLean with 4 years, Brittany Vaughn just completed her first year. Jake Butler with 3 years. Joanne Miller Rose with 15 years of service. And Corday Trick, is Corday here? 25 years. Thank you, Corday. Birthdays in December, not quite as loaded as November was. Tim just had his birthday on the 3rd. Kathy's pre-funking on her birthday. She must be, is tomorrow. Tressa's big 4-0, Tressa? I guess we don't say. Tressa's birthday's upcoming on the 17th. Matt Reed's on the 26th, and then Taylor on the 26th as well. Just a reminder, this Saturday's Give Back, Give Warmth. If you can just tie a knot and then cut with some fleece, that you're qualified for this event that we've put together. We're going to make about 125 blankets on Saturday from 9 to noon. You can come for an hour, 2 hours, or all 3 hours. We'd love to see you there 9 to noon at the Latter-day Saints Church off of 44th in Inglewood. And then also you'll see we've got some bags already here. Great example, this large tall bag here on the right. They've got the person's name, they've got the school, they've got everything that they've asked right on front, nice and big, so it makes those delivering the gifts and organizing them that much easier to see. So if you want to just look at those for examples, there's some pretty good examples of that. We need those by the 13th, dropped off at the Kashmir Valley Bank on 2nd Avenue. And then Taylor and Co. are going to organize those. And then we've got some other volunteers for distributing them directly to the schools on the 14th and 15th. So we'd like those by the 13th. Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you. You guys made it nice. We got like 100% sign up very quick. So that was great. Rotaract is having their annual fundraiser at Sports Center on December 15th. You'll see my newsletter has the sign up for the link for that. I believe it's $30, and it's for the Seahawk. It's their Seahawk game Thursday night party. All right, and then just an announcement, no club meetings on December 20th and the 27th, so you can enjoy time with family and friends on the holidays. We'll see you back here on the 3rd. And then, Tressa, do you want to talk about do you want to come up here? Okay. Okay.
Christmas party, holiday party next Tuesday at the Country Club. We have 78 members signed up, so I think it's going to be a really fun event. Happy hours from 5 to 6. We'll be serving appetizers, a grazing table, and Treberry during that hour. And then we'll have the prime rib and salmon buffet for dinner, desserts, and then big urn dancing. Remember, if you want to participate in the gift card exchange, please bring a $20 gift card for you, and if your partner wants to participate as well. We're going to have an Advent Christmas tree calendar gift card giveaway. So if you bring one, you will get one to take home as well. And we're trying to promote either support local businesses, so your favorite coffee shop, restaurant, or local shop. So.
Regular Christmas theme attire, or whatever you want to come in.
People have been asking, and some people will be wearing Christmas glam, which is sparkles and glitter and all that, or just regular Christmas sweaters appropriate. So whatever you want to wear.
Okay. Thank you, Tressa. So next week's off-site at the Yakima Country Club, you need to RSVP. When's the RSVP deadline for that? Today. Okay, great job, everybody. If you haven't, get home an RSVP. I did mine yesterday, so I wasn't a hypocrite here. All right, with that, I'm going to hand over Sergeant of Arms to our Joe Falk.
Thanks very much, Dirk. So if we could Joe, could you get the yes? Hey, Christy, how much money do we have this week? Okay, John will pick the winning ticket. Oh, I can't see her. Oh, it's Steve. Steve's the winner. Okay. Oh, well, hey, thanks, Steve. Okay, happy bucks. I did, certainly 2 weeks before Christmas. We have happy bucks all over the room. Bill.
I have 10 happy bucks for the University of Utah.
Woo!
12 champions.
Yes, they are.
Oh, no, come on.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. Okay, more happy holiday bucks. Craig?
Just found out that my oldest son is having, him and his wife are having their second child, so I have a happy $10.
Oh, cool. So you look like you have a happy buck.
I have 2 happy bucks. One of them I found this thing, so I'm very grateful. As soon as they said it was gonna cost me $100, I found it again. And then I did something really cool. I think across the board, I had the opportunity to one of our Rotarians asked me to do something, and I did it, and I didn't charge anything, so I felt really, really excited about it.
Yeah.
It's being good part of the Rotarian crowd.
Hi, okay, hey, thank you very much. So, well, yeah, Tressa?
I have a happy 20. Mr. Allen, can you stand up, please?
Oh, look at that. I, should we exempt George from any fines this afternoon? No.
I'm going to have to give another $10 just to top that.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
This is a happy buck, it's more of a sad buck, but I'll like to respond right now to this. So, last year, we were in Hawaii, and so the Cougars won, see, and it doesn't happen a lot, but so I called Joe Harlington, and I said, I'm not going to be there for that meeting, can you cover for me? And he said, sure, I'm not afraid of Tressa. So, by the way, just one other little side story. Tressa gave me a jersey or a T-shirt several years ago.
Okay, there must be more happy bucks. Yep.
Joe, I was lucky enough that Jacob Butler, our fellow Rotarian, had extra tickets for the Yakima Symphony on Sunday, and he gave them to us, and it was absolutely wonderful, and I encourage anybody to go to it. So, just like
Oh, thank you for sharing. Yeah, no, the symphony is one of the wonderful legacies that we have in this community. Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Well, I have some happy bucks while I'm sharing this table with Josh. I don't know if you remember those that came to the Seahawk football game. Josh was the only one that showed up with Denver Bronco apparel. And so I just wanted to 5 happy bucks because the 2 Denver draft picks we have next year are guaranteed to be in the top 5.
Thanks very much. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, all the sports op-ed reporting is that Russell Wilson's playing himself right out of the Hall of Fame at this point. So, okay, more happy bucks for the holiday season. Oh no, Tressa, you say no. Okay, you want to defend that $100 that you? Okay. Okay. Thanks very much for that. Also, do we have any shameless plugs? Okay.
DECA judges, January 9th. So please, I'll get something for the newsletter next week.
So, any other? Oh, sorry, Stephanie. Any other shameless plugs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Tony, go ahead.
Why not? In case you can get out on this Saturday, my band Vandermeers is playing.
Oh, Gib.
it's $5.
It's $5. A shameless plug. So I better see some people out there. There we go. Do that.
So, hey, Gib, Gib, I'm sorry, I called you Tony because I somehow looked over and I thought I was looking at Tony Klein. Tony, do you need to pay $5 for looking like Gib? Okay, I think so. I think so. Hey, thank you, Gib. Okay. So, any more shameless plugs? So, hey, Jeanette, welcome to Southwest Rotary. We are going to make your stay with us the most fun thing, one of the most fun things you do in your life, hopefully. And you've got a friend, Tressa, who's already got you started. So we welcome you to Southwest Rotary for sure. And Whitney and Addie, thank you for being here today and helping to make our meeting even more special than it might otherwise be. So, okay. And also, I want to pay homage. Is that the right word, John? Homage? You're an archivist, so anyway, thank you for. I know you're here to be our program, but you know, John is you're the immediate past president of downtown, are you not? And he actually got up and, with the rest of us, said, "The most awesomest club in the world." Hey, we're not going to report that back to his club, but what you know. But that's great camaraderie to join us in that what has become for us that our weekly pledge here at our meeting. So, okay. And I have to say one other thing. Now, Dirk, this is not one of those things that we're going to find you to show you our affection, because I know I've overdone that one. But, you know, Dirk has been spearheading the blanket project for 15 years, maybe 12 years. And it's been one of our club's most successful community service projects, and he's going to be spearheading the one that's this next Saturday. And it's had a wonderful outcome, I think, for people in this community who have received these blankets. So, and I'm saying that as someone, I've never tied any knots. I've not been to Dirk's party, and I apologize for that, Dirk. But you really have. That has been one of the great things that our club has done, year in and year out. So thank you for that. And for that, you are actually exempt from paying any fines today. So, okay? So, oops, I got to get my watch on here on the right time. I've got a few minutes left before John is going to kick me off the podium so he can talk about the Rotary project down at Track 29. But, so this is our last meeting before Christmas. Now, I know we have the Christmas party. I haven't forgotten about that next Tuesday. But we are not going to be meeting in this room again until the first Tuesday in January. Oh, and I wanted to give Dirk a bad time for giving himself the 20th and the 27th off, but I think that for good reason, because if we had meetings those 2 days, the room might be only half full instead of. And today, by the way, I'm really impressed with how full this room is. We really thank you for all turning out to make our meeting such a success. So I would like, I am not going to do the table-to-table thing that we sometimes do, but I would like to give you the opportunity to talk about Christmas memories or Christmas traditions or holiday memories or traditions that mean something to you and to your family. And so I'd love to give you the opportunity and be thinking about what you want to say, but give you the opportunity to get up and tell us. And I might say that some of our best moments in Southwest Rotary are when we give our members and guests the opportunity to get up and talk about talk about their families, talk about how they met their significant others, to talk about what's important to them in their lives, and we always get lots of good laughter out of that. So this is one of those occasions. So I see, I'm not going to pick on anyone particular, but I see a big smile over here. So you must have a story that you want to tell us. No. So.
Come on, Raquel, it's all you.
Okay, Raquel.
Oh, damn.
Here. So is there a significant holiday, family or personal holiday, either as a child or adult, it doesn't matter, just what stands out in your memory as an important time this time of year for you or for your family?
Damn. Somehow I knew you would call on me. So I was trying to think, like, what is it that I want to say? But honestly, the most important thing for me sitting in this room right now, it's thinking about, so I've been with the club a year ago in June, right? So last Christmas was my first Christmas with the club. I did attend the Christmas party and have done all of that. And one of the things that I am most grateful for this year, it's how welcoming the club has been to me and how many people I have been able to meet and make a relationship with within this year and a half or so. So it's very important to say not only do we call ourselves the awesomest club in the world, I can honestly testify and say this is probably truly the most awesomest club in the world, because it is like the most welcoming group of people that I've ever been involved with. So thank you. I am very grateful for every one of you guys.
Boy, she set the bar pretty darn high. I think. Addie, do you have something you could share with us as a guest this afternoon? I mean, being married to Josh, you must have some real memories here.
I have a very funny story that doesn't involve Josh, surprisingly. When I lived in France, my roommate was French, and we went to her grandmother's house near Christmas time. And I was an emerging French speaker, and often when you're learning a language, if you don't know the word in the foreign language, you say it in English with a French accent. So, what I told this grandmother and her entire family was that my grandmother, like her, had freezers full of preservatives. And preservatives in French is condom. So I think they're still talking about that American in Poitiers, France.
Wow. Did you see? Did anyone see that coming? So Ryan Beckett, I see you sitting back here. You must have a story that you can tell on yourself or on Robin.
Oh, I could, but I won't. As the Sergeant at Arms, Joe just made the biggest mistake in our club, and that's handing me a microphone, so thank you. Christmas has a couple of things, and I immediately think of two things. And, of course, first is our Christmas Eve carols and candles service at what used to be known First Presbyterian Church. It's now Grace of Christ Presbyterian Church, LLC, whatever. Where there are burned family members and Sunquist family members and the wonderful musicians in town who just absolutely put on an amazing, wonderful, very heartfelt spectacle every single year. But I remember specifically as a kid, since we're talking about these childhood memories with Rotary people involved, my parents would throw us in the car and we would drive around and look at Christmas lights, and who didn't enjoy doing that as a kid? And we would go to the best area in town in the early 80s for Christmas lights, which was the Fairbrook edition, just south of Nob Hill off of 44th Avenue, where, of course, Joe and Jill presided for many years as the king and queen of the Fairbrook edition. Don't tell the neighbors I said that. But there was this major competition in there between several people who just went all out, Chevy Chase style, big lights, bumper to bumper traffic. As a kid, I loved it. I thought it was so great. I joined Rotary, and I am talking to Joe as a young person, or I should say as a younger person, almost 20 years ago, telling him how much he loved us, and Joe just immediately explains, well, that was just really a pain in the rear because you couldn't get out, you couldn't go to the store, you couldn't get home at the end of the night because people driving around, looking at lights, just taking up time and road traffic everywhere. But I appreciated it as a young man, and I appreciate it today.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I have real memories of those days. So, okay, we have time for one more story, and then we need to wrap it up so John can take. Who are you pointing to, Jim? Oh, well, Dirk.
So I'll stand up. So every year in my family, since my wife and I have been married and have kids, we do an Advent calendar. So every day we've got an activity that we do. And it'll be anything from seeing Christmas lights to having orange cinnamon rolls in the morning. So every day we just try and do candlelight by dinner. But one of them that is kind of one of my favorites is we'll do candy cane milkshakes, and we go around to all the different like hamburger stands in town, and we do like a candy cane sampling tasting. And so we try and figure out who's got the best candy cane milkshakes in town. And I can hands down tell you that it's going to be Burger Ranch. So if you haven't had a Burger Ranch candy cane milkshake, do yourself a favor, get a Burger King. The only gross thing they do with their milkshakes is they take the little candy cane with the wrapper and they try and shove it in your shake. So, but there's real bits of candy cane in it. So,
okay, thanks, Dirk. Well, we've run out of story time, but I would like for everyone to pay $2 each for the privilege of hearing these stories. With the exception of Dirk. Dirk, I exempted you earlier, but okay. Well, hey, thanks very much, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Thanks, Joe. Dave, are you doing introduction? Okay. All right, next up I'll have Dave Rankin come up and introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Dirk. Happy holidays, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our program and guest speaker today. We are fortunate to have John Baule with us. John will talk about the Rotary Market Place, a community project that our club is invested in, along with Downtown and Sunrise Rotary. Most of you know that John served as the executive director of the Yakima Valley Museum, retiring from that position at the end of December of 2016. So John served almost 25 years as the director of the Yakima Valley Museum. John, you did a marvelous job. Let's give John a hand for that. Let's see. Most of you know that John is a member of Downtown Rotary, and John has been a member of Downtown Rotary since 1993. I think you came to town in 92, correct? Okay, you were 12. And as Joe mentioned, he also served as president of the Downtown Rotary Club during the 2021-2022 Rotary year. A little background on our speaker. John grew up in Dubuque, Iowa. In 1971, he was drafted in the Army, and he was stationed in Korea. After his time in the service, he returned home, finished college at the University of Dubuque. He taught high school math and began volunteering at the Dubuque Historical Society. Am I getting this right so far? He also received his MA from Cooperstown of New York. Is that true? Okay. He landed his first job as director of the St. Lawrence County Historical Museum in Canton, New York. He moved on to other museum positions in Minneapolis and Pittsburgh prior to becoming the executive director of the Yakima Valley Museum. During John's tenure at the museum, he and his staff added the Children's Underground, the Neon Garden, the soda fountain, and many other wonderful additions to the museum. John and his organization were involved in a successful capital campaign that raised over $5.5 million to renovate the museum's facilities. Amazing. John continues to volunteer in the museum as well as at other organizations in our community, Yakima Farmers Market, many Yakima Rotary projects, to name a few. Our community is very fortunate to have someone as devoted to our community as John is. Thank you, John. Please give John a warm welcome to Yakima Southwest Rotary.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate appreciate it. I think I'm talking into the microphone here. I should say also that I came to Yakima in 1992, and like Raquel, well, I came here for, I was going to say 2 years. And that was because everybody was so welcoming, I'm still here. So, but anyway, we are going to be talking about the Yakima Rotary Marketplace, which you all were very much an instrumental part in. 2 years ago, when, well, now it's 3 years ago, when Taylor and myself and Dell from Sunrise Rotary were presidents-elect of our respective clubs, we had the opportunity to come up with a project. And so we thought about a variety of things, and we came up with this idea of building this pavilion for a new farmers marketplace downtown. And the idea was, well, how hard could this be? It's kind of like a picnic shelter. It's going to, it couldn't cost that much, and it would be built on this thing. Well, it ended up being very complicated and took a long time. But I'm going to take you back a little bit and give you back to the kind of earlier days of the community. So, because unfortunately, kind of like Ryan, you give me a microphone, and so I have to talk about a little bit of history and history in the community. This is actually the area where the marketplace is going. This is 15 West Yakima Avenue. This tower building on your left is the train station, the Yakima train station that was Northern Pacific Station, which was built in 1898. It's not the first station. The first station was a boxcar, but the second station is also in this same picture. If you look to the right of the slide, you'll see this other picture, the building over here with a little bit of a tower. It comes back this way. That's actually the first permanent rail station for the town of North Yakima, which was built in 1887 and was actually built directly where Yakima Avenue now crosses the railroad tracks. The street stopped at the train station. So there was nothing west of Yakima Avenue at that point. The Yakima Avenue didn't go through. Now, it didn't last very long, and they moved it over a bit later and then replaced it with this station. And then in 1910, I don't know if any of you were here then, but if you were, the dedication of it, right, yeah. The dedication of the station that we now see there now, excuse me, was dedicated January of 1910, and that was the first activity of Yakima's Silver Jubilee. Anyway, this gives you a better idea of the same spot. But one of the things I like to point out is if you look at that station now, the train station's there, and you'll see it's got pavement on both sides. When it was built originally, this is the 1898 one, but also true in the 1910 one, they had parks on either side, which I would love to see back. I think it would be a great look for our downtown instead of having a parking lot on either side of the train station. But this gives you a better overview of the whole area where the marketplace is going. This is Yakima, probably about 1915. You can see our train station that we now are familiar with is there already. 1910, the old station has been replaced by freight houses, and right about where those freight buildings are, there to the right of the train station is where the marketplace is going. But you get some sense of the community at that time and the kind of densely built up part of our town. The tall building that's here right over here would be what is called the Miller Building, and that's where Wheatland Bank is now located. So you give a sense of, just to give you a variety of what that place is like. But you can see the area hall here was all rail yards. That's all Northern Pacific rail yards. Pardon? Oh, the top's the pointer? Let me go back a bit. I got to go back here a little bit. Get back to the beginning. Later on, I think most of you, this is what most are familiar with. In the mid-1980s, once it was no longer a railroad station, they got the idea that they would build a, John Edwards decided to take this property and put in rail cars, which you could see there along the side, and then build structures adjacent to them. This actually was still here and still very much operating when I came in 1992, known as Track 29. But that eventually meant its demise, and so over time, just another view of the same place when it was first built, it was actually a pretty neat kind of idea. Unfortunately, it just didn't get maintained very well over the course of time. But this is a little bit about the fellow John Richard Edwards, who developed, and he was a member of your clubs. Okay, and then this is they built this plaza in the front with bricks on it, which I'll talk to you about a little bit. Tressa. Oh, those bricks are now been very, very, very usefully relocated into the landfill. However, what happened is when we went to build it, we were hoping to save those bricks and reuse them. They weren't possible. They were real. They're kind of a crumbly brick, and so when you tried to take them out, they basically just fell apart. So what we did is we saved the names, and in the marketplace, somehow or another, those names are going to get reused. I'm not exactly sure how, but we're going to do them. I took pictures of all of them just to make sure that we would have them. There they are. See. And I saved them all. The other thing that was happening is that these looked pretty good, but if you looked at the edges of that whole thing, by the time they were pretty bad shape. In fact, a lot of the names were pretty gone. You couldn't even tell who the names were anymore. Some of these you will recognize, some you won't. But I do have them all. So originally, once Taylor, Dell, and I decided that this might be a great joint project, I approached my friend Rod Nipper with KDA Architecture and asked him if he would be willing to design something for us, which he was. This is actually going to end up being probably his last major project. And this was kind of the first kind of conceptual idea of the work. Again, to be kind of a front pavilion area and then a larger marketplace. And it runs right down the middle of what became a parking lot. This property did at the time all belonged to Memorial Hospital. And so I went to the hospital. They were very enthusiastic about doing it. It took about 2 years actually to work out the land use of this, because it just turned out this property had all been passed from one owner to other, from Northern Pacific to the hospital, or to the other owners along the way, and finally to the hospital, kind of as a block. And when it came time for us to want to use this central part, we actually had to resurvey and recombine parcels so that you could actually then develop a lease. And the way it worked out is now it is leased, that footprint for the marketplace has now been leased to the Downtown Association of Yakima, who will take over the ownership and management of this once we finish construction. And the hospital was very generous in providing not only the property, giving us the property to do this, leasing it to us, but also all the legal fees that were required to make this happen. This gives you a better idea of how it's going to be located within the property. You see that the big white here right in the top, that used to be the Pacific Fruit Building, and now houses the back offices for Memorial Hospital, as well as the Washington Department of Agriculture. It's a very complicated structure of buildings because, of course, these were all built as part of Fruit Row, and they were built for the fruit processing and transport, and so they were built for that purpose, and they've been remodeled over time, and as a result, they're very quirky inside. to make them all work. In fact, it all looks like one building that fits together. It does not. You cannot necessarily go from one straight through. You sometimes have to go downstairs to go back upstairs to get to the same level. But that's the marketplace as it will be built, as is being built right now. This is the kind of, it's not really the final structure, it's the final in terms of the front, and this is what's being constructed right now. This is the pavilion portion, which is being constructed by Moen Construction. And then the back part, which is not going to look exactly like that, it's going to look actually much nicer, is a pre-engineered building which Tri-Ply Construction and West Morris has been really great in terms of providing all the expertise. That part is coming as one, well, it's not coming as one piece, it's coming in pieces, but it's been built in Missouri. It's being finished right now in California, and it will be shipped to us and arriving here the week of January 23rd. And now you'll see it underway. This is the far north end. These little buildings here, which you'll see a little bit more of, these are the only enclosed spaces in the project right now. One is just purely storage. The other one will house all the electrical and water connections, because the whole plaza or the whole marketplace will have water and power, but it'll be controlled from here, so it won't be on all the time. Here they are under construction. The idea was to match, just to give you some idea of the construction. This is actually all the conduit work that went in down in the middle. One of the other things that we discovered during the construction of it was that the west side of this piece of property, it all looked like one flat piece of property. The west side is actually about 7 or 8 feet in elevation higher than the east side. And if you're going to put a thing in that has to be level, all this had to be regraded, and not only regraded, but also regraded in terms of stormwater and stormwater distribution. And that's what you see here. These are all new storm drains because it had to flow. All the water has to flow into the storm sewer system and not settle into the middle of that space as it was before. These are the towers that were under construction for the pavilion piece. It's all, of course, reinforced concrete. But the idea is, and you can see here, they're beginning to be finished now. This is the stonework. Herky Rock gave us all the stone that is being used for this, and JEI Masonry is putting it together. And then above that will be brickwork that it will replicate the same kind of brickwork and color as on the train station next door. So the whole idea is they all blend together. Also on these pillars, in the center part of 2 of them, there is going to be a marble, it's a marble, a piece of marble that's being engraved with all the donor names. Because this has been a project that, as I said, when we started, we thought, how expensive would this be? Well, it turned out to be quite expensive. And so it's about a $1.5 million project. And your club, Downtown Club, Sunrise Club, the Rotary Trust, and Rotary District has put forth a fair amount of money, and then the rest of it has all come from private contributions, which I'm hoping is enough. Otherwise, when we get a little further down the road, I see all the names of all the people in here, and I may find you later, but we're getting there. This is as it looks this morning. Those are on the right-hand side are the 2 small buildings on the back. That's where the roof will go over those. That is the new building, pre-engineered building. In the front is what we call the pavilion portion, and it will have a clay tile roof, the same clay tile that's actually on First Presbyterian Church, now Christ the King Church, which is being given to us by Scott Wagner Roofing. There's been just a lot of people that have donated not only time, but also expertise and materials. Mike Popoff, has given a lot of the concrete and rebar that went into it. Both the construction firms are donating all their overhead and profit on this. So it's really been a lot of hands in part of the whole thing. I'm including this only because now that the marketplace is well under construction, we hope to have it finished by probably, I want to say the end of February, probably into March, but it'll definitely be ready by the time Farmers Market opens in May. But this building is next to it and is at the end. And probably some of you will recognize this. This is the old Hellison Lumber Building. But this backs up into that same parking lot. It also happens to have been built probably about 1902 or 1903, not by Hellison, but by A.E. Larson. This was Larson Lumber, was sold to Hellison's in 1906. And this building is absolutely incredible inside. You can't tell too much from this, but you see the center part is kind of just a basically big square building, kind of a bit of a pitched roof, but it has clerestory windows all the way around it. And then the bottom, the first floor is all, or main level is all, surrounds that. It's all open inside because I think most of you remember from Hellison days that you could drive in there and pick up your lumber. It was one of the few, they always would advertise the only lumber yard that keeps all their lumber inside. And so the thing is built incredibly solidly. And the owner approached me, and I'm now have this dream that actually this is the next project that will work on this. So, and I think this would be another great Rotary project. Yeah. Pardon? No, it's owned by Larry Hall, who's the same fellow who owns the Larson building right now. But he's interested in having something happen to it. It's a great wood frame building. It's got both good and bad. One of the good things is it's very, very well built. It also was always a lumber yard, so it has nothing. It has no HVAC or anything that has to be removed, or any hazardous waste or sawdust in the walls or anything like that. That's also the bad part, because of course all that has to be put back in. But we are in the process right now. The Downtown Association has taken on the responsibility for doing some due diligence to see how much it's going to cost to repair it. And I would be more than happy to name this after Dirk or somebody who wants to underwrite the cost of it. So, but that's kind of the next idea. But the idea is this, and the reason I bring it up is because the marketplace is an open facility. This could add a whole other level to the whole other thing. It could have restrooms in it. It could become something that would be either a business incubator or other kinds of small businesses that would go in there and feed directly into the marketplace. So I've got, I can't stop with one project. So, but this is what it'll look like when it's finished, and it will have this look on the front. The rotary wheel is actually now made. It is in neon and with the rotary colors, and we'll say Rotary Marketplace on it. And as I say, should be opening sometime this next spring. So you can kind of look forward to that. It's been a really exciting project, and I really appreciate Taylor, Dell, your club, everybody who's been involved in this all along the way, who's kind of stepped up and helped us get to this stage. And now hopefully we can go to the next stage and do something else. I'm nothing if not a dreamer. Let's try to find the next thing to happen and help redevelop the whole downtown area. So happy to answer any questions. Yep. No. So I think it's a great project. It's wonderful for Yakima. So if you would join me in applauding John for all of it. And now I have to. Now Taylor is going to send me a bill. So, he is a banker. So, thank you, Taylor. So, questions? I thought, yeah.
Traffic flow. I see this as monumental for downtown, but Front Street, easy access to Front Street, like in the middle. Is there any plans for that?
Well, yeah. I mean, truthfully, I'm looking at this as the first step. The big disadvantage with this spot is that really right now the only access for cars is off of Yakima Avenue. And now there is some potential. That's the other reason for the Hellison building property is you could create some flow that gets you back out onto First Avenue. You can't get to Front Street because there's a railroad track in between. But being nothing if not a dreamer, I keep looking and thinking about that great pedestrian bridge that's now in Wenatchee that crosses the railroad tracks and goes from downtown over toward where Priebus Market is. And I think the same thing could very much happen in Yakima. It just would take a little bit of time and obviously some money to do it. But that would be another advantage of it.
So you talked about Priebus Market, and how was that? I mean, if people don't know it, you need to go to Wenatchee and see it. But was that a Rotary? I mean, how did
No, that was a private developer, but also a lot of community support, a lot of city infrastructure support went into it. The person who did a lot of the design on it is Ram Baba, who's the same person who designed Cowiche Canyon restaurant here in town. He's from Yakima, but they had a lot of the same structure. It was a steel. Manufacturing place, and so it was a wide open building. Its advantage over this, quite truthfully, is it's enclosed, and I would like this to be enclosed at some point too, but there is a certain point about you can only do so much at one time, and I think if we can get this part done, I think it's potential to perhaps it can be enclosed. If you do the other part, you can do that. I think the whole thing here was to try to help redevelop this and create a kind of a destination spot just like that over time, because at the moment, it's still going to be open, so it'll be used in the summer. It also can be used for all kinds of events. Part of the reason we put in a lot of power and water access and whatnot, so that other kinds of things can happen there on the weekends. We have unlimited use of that facility. The community does after 7 every day and all day weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. The hospital is still using it for parking, and that's another reason why the lots on either side, and that's another reason why we'd like to create more access and whatnot so that we can use it even more frequently. So, but it's pretty exciting at this point.
So if people were interested in donating to the Market Place,
Yeah, it's on a website. You just have to see me, basically. It goes through Yakima Rotary Charities right now, and that's where all the donations have come so far.
single donations, can you do a multi-year pledge?
You can mostly single because of the way Rotary works. It's really hard to do pledges over a long period of time. We're doing a few, but mostly it's been upfront gifts. And the gifts have been, truthfully, of all levels. We've had gifts of $20 to $500,000 toward this project from private donors. So it's been a great project, and I have a feeling that I may have to go back to some of those, and maybe some new people too. So to finish the rest of it, but it's been very, very exciting and very great to have the partnerships of Rotary and all the individual citizens. But we are still taking donations, definitely. I never turn down money. Addie can tell you about that. Yeah.
John, I'll say something.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, but I'll tell you a secret parking spot after 4:30. PSD 105. That
Yes.
spot is empty at 4:30, half a block away. And
That's-
so is Cashmere Bank.
That's right. Yep. Right. Right, and actually, there's a lot of parking there on that lot. If you haven't been in there, that lot goes all the way over to the first underpass. And even now, when we've closed off the whole east side of that lot for this construction project, but once that's open, that'll be open again. But even now, when the buildings are in use by the employees, there's still lots of parking left there.
For a farmers market event, will the vendors be under the shaded area?
The people will, the walker, the public.
Hallway will be underneath.
Yeah,
The vendors on the outside.
yeah. That's the way it's.
People are in the shade.
Yeah, the people are in the shade, and most of the vendors bring their own tents anyway, and like to have their own tents. So, it seems to work that way. Hi, Danny.
John,
Yeah.
nice presentation. My question is, who's going to maintain it, and where does the funds going to maintain it once it's all done?
It's going to be maintained by the Downtown Association of Yakima, and the Downtown Association of Yakima is multi-funded. It already has a contract with the city of Yakima through the PBIA to do maintenance in this area anyhow. Plus, there's a real great partnership with the city of Yakima for Main Street. It's called Main Street B&O taxes. And so the Downtown Association has resources. It has a team right now. The Downtown Association is the one who does all the takes care of all the flowers downtown, does all the maintenance downtown, does extra garbage removal, and this will just feed into that. They will also do the booking of it. So there's already funds for that. That's why they're taking it over. Otherwise, we'd have to have, George down there doing the cleaning or somebody like that. Or Tressa, we could get Tressa. Tressa could do it. Yeah. All right. Anything else? All right. Well, I invite you. Look forward to the opening. There will be some grand event when the ribbon is cut, and so we want you all there. So thanks very much.
Thank you, John. It's great hearing about it. It's great seeing it. It's great hearing for its intended use. And I'm always surprised what you think going into a meeting. I thought it was going to be the Rotary Marketplace update and here's where we are in the progress. But the historian and the speaker, that was a great presentation. So I can't imagine what our community would be like if John wasn't in it. So John, thank you very much. Great presentation. All right. With that, our meeting is adjourned.